Blog entry 36 of 8/3/2022. So it's been a while since I'd written to share my experiences. Over the past few months, I've been reshaping my life to become more grounded. Radha and Krishna had told me that a major transition was coming and that the transition was complete. They also said that I wouldn't have the full understanding of it for a long time. What stood out the most was this was the first day of my new job, and Krishna that morning in meditation told me that I would be choosing the material over him, and to be really clear about that. And I didn't really know what that meant. So when I went to the job the first day, and as soon as I walked in the building, all of the bliss that I had inside of me turned off like a light switch. It was unbelievable. And I had had so much bliss for so long. I had gotten really used to it. And I didn't really even anticipate that happening. It was really disorienting at the time. I thought about the travel and the being in the van and not really understanding the purpose. And although I knew it was pleasing to Krishna, to God, because I could feel it, I didn't really see any importance to it. It seemed like a waste of time. Seems kind of dumb at the time, especially. I was like, this seems like a huge waste in so many ways. And so I'd really decided to do this job thing. But with all the bliss turning off inside, it just disoriented me so much. Unbelievable. And at this job, there was a minister there. And I was able to talk to him about his experience of the calling, which is what a lot of Christian ministers will call when they feel pulled to go preach. And there was some really interesting similarities between the two. It was a common experience would be like feeling like you're in a jar and that there's pressure that builds and builds and builds and builds and builds. And then as soon as you take a step towards what pleases God more, so teaching people about God, how to love God more, whatever your path is, the pressure releases. And it builds so much and so intense, and the release is so intense. But here's the thing. Whatever I choose to sign up for coming down here, that's why this is part of my path. It's completely possible to live a full life, work a normal job, grow your love for God every day, have a family, and do normal things. This type of extreme sort of thing is just something I signed up for before I came down. So that's into this lifetime. And so that's real important to distinguish that it's not the only way or the only path or whatever version of it, you want to see from there. So the pressure builds, and then if you don't act on it, it can actually make you physically sick, emotionally sick, or it can cause a lot of problems. Another shared common thing was feeling pulled to take really big leaps of faith, like traveling around in a van, like closing out your business, like just hanging out and letting Krishna provide for you and keep it going. When a lot of the times I would feel pulled to do that, and I would kind of hope it didn't work out because it's hard and it's not easy and it's not fun, but it's fulfilling inside. So then there's like this constant grind between the material me and the spiritual me, and it didn't really ever stop. And at this point in my journal, it was really super intense because it was like a giant crossroads, And just as Krishna had said that morning, he made it really clear what I was choosing. And that was his point. And he got his point across. And so at the end of that day, I just knew I couldn't do it. And I couldn't not have the bliss and the love of God in my life, even though I didn't know where it was going. I don't really fully know what it means, especially at that point in my journey. But yeah, I knew at that point I couldn't do the material path anymore in that way. I just knew. Yeah. All right, well, this is kind of a long one for me. Thanks for tuning in. Like and subscribe to the channel if you have a chance. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.